All right, we are live on Facebook and we are recording. I'm John Mercer, president of the Las Vegas Triathlon Club, and we've got a special Las Vegas Triathlon Club member spotlight tonight, and that's with another fellow board member, Lisa Child, and she is the
Hi.
treasurer of our, what's that?
I said hi.
She's the treasurer of our board, and she keeps us together and keeps us running. And there's so much that she does that I really was excited about having her on here, not only to talk about what she does as a board member, but also as a triathlete. And that's obviously how she got connected to the board. And she's just been such a real key person to making the Tri Club what it is today. I think I posted in my original message, you know, people will probably recognize you at packet pickup because you really
Yeah.
got that started, and that's been neat. You check in on race day and finish line, and you're really everywhere when you're providing support. And it's really been such a great time for me to get to know you on this board and really work with you. It's really been a pleasure. So how's it going, Lisa?
It's good. It's really been a lot of fun working with the board. It's something I originally thought I would do for a year, maybe, because I was talked into it, and
Yeah.
I just haven't left.
Well, we're gonna
Every
get into that,
year,
but we're gonna
it's
get
so
into
fun.
that. We're gonna find out a little bit more about that. But before we do, I'm gonna turn it over to Bob Gamble, our ambassador of the Las Vegas Tri Club, and he is going to do the official introduction and kickoff for this spotlight. Hey, Bob, how's it going?
Hey, I'm fine. I'm fine. Y'all look nice and happy too, so it looks like it's a good day.
It's a
Um,
Thursday.
and it's cool to have Lisa on tonight. Everybody, like John said, knows Lisa from the packet pickup and from the fact that she writes the checks for all of the different things that we do. And it's going to be interesting. I was looking forward to this because the club will know what all goes into the finances of keeping the club together and the permits and the different things we do. We're going to ask her a little bit about that. But in addition to that, like John said, Lisa is also an athlete that has done, done sprint Olympic and done half marathons. And so, that's how she got into it. She volunteered to do this for about a year, and then we won't let her leave because she's just entirely too valuable. And we'll either twist her arm or put a chain on her or something to make sure she doesn't go anywhere. But just to get started, Lisa, thanks for being here, and thanks for what you do. You're seem to be like the face of the Tri Club, because when someone shows up and goes to the registration, you're the first person they see, and you're always around all the events and races. So I can't tell you how much we appreciate you, how valuable you are to the club. But
Yeah.
is there anything you can add to or talk about as far as the treasury and what people don't know that that would be interesting to them? And I just think it is interesting that you run this like it's a corporation.
Pretty much, yeah. And that's my background. My background is in accounting and bookkeeping. That's what I do for a living. So it's kind of just an extension of that. That's why it's the board position I chose, because it's just like second nature.
Mm.
But I've actually kind of tried to expand it a little, because on the treasury end, it's pretty much taking care of the bills, making sure the bills are paid, financial statements, making sure we're secure, helping with budgeting and making decisions about things the club can do and give back to its members. Some of the purchases, like the really cool swim mat, like budgeting and finding ways to make those kind of things happen, finding ways to make social events and races happen. But I
And not
actually,
cost too much money, and actually
right,
can sometimes keep us liquid.
well, and keep us healthy,
Yeah.
keep it healthy so that we can keep, always have what we need for emergencies, for permits, for insurance. And so at any point we can always put on an event. I think that's just kind of the treasurer part in general. So I like to try and stick my nose in other people's positions. I really wanted to be able to get to know people. So I've kind of taken on organizing registrations, as they come in, feeding those to membership to Laura so she can cross-check them, checking people in at the events, packet pickups. I prefer to work the finish line because I just like to be able to see everybody rather than be in one spot. I kind of feel like it's a position where I've had the opportunity that not a lot of people probably know me. Not a lot of people probably recognize me, but I know everyone's names. I've gotten to where I know a lot of people's faces. I kind of throw people off because I'll go up to them and call them by their name and they'll be like, who are you?
Hey, who are you? And how do you know me? Yes.
But it's kind of cool for me, you know, to be able to put names and faces together and then be able to correlate that to the actual events.
Well, one of the things I like that you said that I think is really important in getting involved with the board is you took a position that it matches your skill set. And a lot of times that's what we're looking for is people to bring their skills to the board and then, you know, do what you naturally do, because then it's a little easier when it is, you know, something you already do. Or if people want to grow in a particular direction, you know, they can certainly take something on that maybe they're not used to or comfortable with and grow in that direction. So I think that's really neat that, you know, you have a really great skill set for doing treasurer work and it matches what the club needs exactly.
Yeah.
And not only that is it, there's so much more to running the club. I mean, John holds everything together, of course, and directs what we're doing and how we're doing it, when in control, you know, manages the board meetings and the board itself. And there's so much more behind it. That's why I wanted to, you know, I was excited about having you here, is the fact that people don't realize that the club is actually it's a big deal. It's not just a fly by night, you know, let's get a bunch of people in a room, have a beer and talk about what we're going to do. There's actually a business of running it. So you bring a critical skill set to that.
There is a lot behind it. And it's a lot of, on my end, it's a lot of organizational skill, a lot of keeping records and putting records together. And you'll notice I haven't caught it up in a couple of weeks, but like I've kind of taken on like spreadsheeting people's mileage for the month that they submit.
Oh, cool.
Just little things. Those are my skill set, but it's really fun working with people whose skill sets are in other places, because it's really fun for me to watch the people who can go out there and teach, or the people who can give seminars, or the people who are really good with the equipment and all the things that I struggle with, but it's giving me an opportunity to learn.
Yeah. Now, one thing that's interesting though is that besides your skills with the board, you know, that's not what we didn't just go out and hire somebody like this. You were a triathlete first. So, you know, how did you get started? And you know, what was the first races that you did, and what's your background? Were you a runner, swimmer, biker, or how'd you get started?
None of the above. I was a team sports player. I've played softball my whole life. I've been into stuff like that. I took up running in 2011, and I call it running, but it's more like interval walk jogging. And I took that up just to try and get healthier. Got kind of obsessed with it, started signing up for 5Ks, then 10Ks, then half marathons, and I've done some Ragnar. But I drugged a friend into running more with me. And then she said, hey, you know what would be fun? Let's do a triathlon. And we were supposed to do Iron Girl. And I trained a little, but not enough. And then I backed out because I did not know how to swim. So I ended up doing fast in the pool, which was perfect because low key, it's charity, it's local.
And you can stand up.
Yes, a lot of people are first timers, and you can totally stand up in the pool if you have to. I was in that water for a long time. But it was fun, and I kind of got a little bit hooked, so I went and got myself a year's worth of swimming lessons and really worked to learn how to swim, and spent my first year doing duathlons while I learned how to swim.
That's awesome. I mean, I love pool swim triathlons. I think it actually is a neat way to get into the sport. And so that's cool that that was the fastest, we were talking about that, the PHAST one over Heritage. Was it Heritage at that time?
It was the same exact course that they still do.
Yeah.
they said, seed yourself in a snake swim. I had no idea what that meant, but I
Yep.
just jumped to the back of the line and followed the person in front of me, and it worked.
And that swim can probably sometimes be actually more torturous than an open water swim, because people are going in both directions, and it can.
Oh, it was chaos because I put myself in the wrong spot. I had people swimming over me. I had kids passing me. It was chaos, but it was really fun, and everybody there was just super supportive and good, and nobody cared that I stood up and kind of went off to the side to let people pass me because I was nervous, and
Catch your breath.
Yeah, got lost on the run. It was a perfect first try.
So you said you're hesitant about the swim for like the open water, and you did this race. Well, what made you then say, oh, I want to go ahead and get some swimming lessons and then do another one? What was it about finishing and that made you keep looking at it?
It was probably half adrenaline, half peer pressure because my friends were doing it. And probably a good portion too that there's not a lot of pool tries available. And if I wanted to do it again and I didn't want to wait a year, I was going to have to figure out how to swim in the lake.
I love it. Yeah, that's great.
And it's a cool feeling coming across the finish line. That's got to make you want to do another one, didn't it?
It really did. It really did. It's totally different than a running event. You cross the finish line there, and it's a totally different. I like both, but it was not the same, and it was just something I really wanted to be able to do again.
Mm-hmm. All right, so now I'm gonna brag on you a little bit here for some of the work that you do besides treasurer of the board. Is that with our Tri Club events, we've tried to really make the finish line something for everybody, and you've been a real great advocate of saying, hey, everyone should cross that finish line and feel special. And I think that's such a great element that you brought to the races and the events that's been pretty neat.
Yeah.
And also one of the things that impressed me about Lisa was her advocacy and of the average Joe, the award that we're talking about, and the Athena and the Clydesdale group. And it's one thing that you impressed upon me is that, because I'm an old fart coming across the line at the back of the pack here, and you still make us all feel as though we're champions, So it's like that's just, you bring that to the whole club, and that's really cool. That's special.
Thanks. Yeah, that's kind of always been my platform. I've always been a big advocate for the back of the pack. For do it if you think you can't, try it anyway. What's the worst that can happen? You try. I just have a real soft spot for the people who get out there and push. And to me, like, podium is fantastic, and we have some amazing, amazing athletes in the group, and they're really fun to watch. But man, there's something to be said for somebody who puts their all for 2 hours or 2.5 hours. Yep. I mean, they're out there twice as long and working just as hard. And I think in a lot of big commercial tri settings, they kind of get forgotten. They kind of get left behind a little bit. Not everybody, but I mean, I've been on courses where they're picking up the cones before I'm done, and I'm a big advocate that, especially in small local community type stuff, that shouldn't happen to people.
Yep, that's right. I agree. Nope, and we appreciate your advocacy for that, for sure.
Yeah, it's been really important to me that the board maintains some members that are not podium people. Yeah. It doesn't mean you can't be super involved.
No, that's great. And something that we talk about all the time is filling different bins for different people. So we have our front of the pack, our middle of the pack, and back of the pack.
Yeah.
And it's always, I actually really get invigorated by those conversations, because it sort of stretches all of us to think about other people in a different way or a unique way, and trying to make the event special. So that's been fun. All right, let's keep talking about you and how you moved into some duathlon. All right. Yes. Which duathlons did you get involved in?
I did the Vegas Sunrise, which BBSC used to do after Rage and before their Sand Hollow. It was like the week before Sand Hollow, I believe. I did Vegas Sunrise, I did Sand Hollow, and I did Cocopelli. And by the second one, in the middle of summertime, I realized really quick the benefits of learning to swim, because running twice in the heat is not as fun as it is in the winter. But I do really still love duathlon.
Yeah.
And it's something I still, if I go back to racing, I haven't raced in a while, but if I went back to it, it's something I would like to do again. I would just be more selective about what time of year I would do it.
Yeah. Oh, that's neat. Now,
We're gonna have
gear-wise,
to
how did
do
you get
duathlons.
started?
So, say again, John. I walked over.
I was gonna ask you, I always like to hear how, when people get started, either in triathlon or duathlon, gear-wise, how did you get started?
Gear-wise?
Yeah,
Gear.
like bikes,
Cheap road bike, dusty tennis shoes. You know, nothing fancy. I rode actually all but, I want to say all but my Olympic triathlon on a $700 road bike.
That's awesome.
I didn't clip in for my first race. I clipped in after that. I rode on the flip pedals that you could flip over and ride on the flat side if you were uncomfortable. Just nothing fancy, nothing fancy. And to be honest with you, to this day, if you catch me pulling my bike out, it is 9 times out of 10 my hybrid, not my fancy road bike.
Yeah.
I just really like
it's
it.
good to have a comfortable bike, and I think it's such a great message that you know, sometimes people look at equipment as a barrier to getting involved in triathlon, but
Yeah.
sometimes you just gotta get something to get going, and it's still a great accomplishment when you finish.
Yeah, I sold my first bike and I still miss it. And you know, and it was just a cheap starter. I have a real expensive, nice bike now, and I barely ride it. I ride my cheap one. I just like it.
You know, a lot of people will tell you the same thing, that it's like their first love. You know, you get this bike that you've maybe put some bits and pieces on it, and you know, had a lot of good memories in your first races on it, and it's like, yeah, I mean, that counts for a whole lot.
You get dents, you get scratches, you know, they're all memories.
Yeah, that's right. So no, you sound like you're connected to the emotional roots of your racing.
Yeah, I'm not competitive. I'm just not. My competition is, can I finish?
There you go.
Yeah.
That's good.
So I'm more about just being out there wearing the kind of clothes I'm comfortable in, riding the equipment I'm comfortable on, and enjoying my day more than maybe saving 5 minutes of time.
Well, now also, Lisa, now that it's, you know, the weather's cooling off a little bit, and as soon as the fires go away, it's going to be clean air out there, and we don't have any races to get ready for. So perhaps you can start riding and training again.
Yeah, I mean, I walk a lot. But I've kind of played a little bit with starting to jog a little again. I do ride my bike like around the neighborhood, but I'm hoping this fall to not necessarily train, but to get in shape that if something came along that I wanted to do, I wouldn't be that far off.
Oh, that'd be fun.
Yeah.
That's great, and I love it because, you know, you're doing the sport because you enjoy it. It you know, that's the thing that we have in the club. We have such a wide range of people in the club, and it's great just to do it just for the sake of doing it.
Yeah. And I keep telling, I haven't done it yet, but I keep telling myself one of these times I'm going to go out and I'm going to do one of these time trials, and I will put up the bottom time on the board just so more people, I hope, will come out and just try it.
Yeah.
Well, you and I will be fighting for the bottom on the board though, but it'll be fun. Just come on out there.
You know, I just think a lot of people like maybe get hesitant because they don't want to be that bottom of the list. But you know what? I'll take the bullet. I'll be the bottom of the list.
Okay.
Because I would love to see more people out there.
That's right. And all different people, and just doing it for the sake of doing it, because it's fun to, you know, do it as a community. So
yeah, I'm looking forward to, you know, when things are a little bit better and we can start having some more group stuff. I'd like to go out and ride with some of the beginners, some of the people who are really uncertain, some of the people who are happy to go 7 to 11 miles an hour with me, you know, because that's my happy spot, you know.
You know, you hit on a really good point there. Is we've got a whole lot of new, you know, novice and first time triathletes, and you're absolutely right. We got some we got some people who are just world-class athletes, and they're intimidating. So, you know, John, she's got a really good point there. We're going to have to just do some rides for, you know, like the rest of us. And I think we could get some people involved in the rides and the runs and even some swims.
Yeah,
Just
I would
emphasizing that part of it, Lisa.
Yeah, nothing competitive, just some recreational get together, you know, let's go at a slow pace and have a good time and get to know each other. And, you know, just as soon as they allow us to do that again.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, I like that idea. It's a great idea.
No, it is. And it's fun to, you know, see our community grow, and we see these groups forming. And, you know, I think the, you know, Tribe Club is a good place for people to try to make those groups happen. Now, you're a multi-sport person,
Mhm.
and now you say you're not competitive, but you play competitive softball.
Oh, I'm competitive in team sports.
Oh, all right.
I do play competitive softball. I play on a women's tournament team, on a co-ed tournament team. I pick up on other tournament teams. I play out of state. I play league here in town. But when it comes down to 5K, 10K, halves, you know, triathlons, no matter what the distance, I am not competitive.
Well, what position do you play?
I'm sorry?
What position do you play in softball?
First base, first and catcher mostly.
That's
I
cool.
can play second. I can play any infield really, but
Got the reflexes.
But when it comes to the triathlon and the running, I've actually gotten very, very into this virtual racing that's out right now.
Oh, nice.
And which races have you done? Which ones? Tell us about that.
I do just different websites. I find different ones. I've found one website that has like where they have an app, and like the races could be long, like 100 miles, and you can just keep inputting your workouts, and then they send you the medal once you finally complete the mileage, and it just keeps me moving. I do some competitive events on a platform called Racery that we've talked about before, that, you know, at some point we might be able to bring in some kind of a event for the club. But I'm talking, I run with 12 teams of 60 people, and we'll put up 4,000 miles in 10 days per team.
Yeah.
Put up 150 miles in 10 days for that, but you can barely get me off the couch the week after. You know, but it's just super fun to me because it's just competing with yourself. And I've built up a really big virtual support group.
Mm-hmm.
We all just like, there is nobody that will cheer for you like your computer friend. They're just, you know, like, you're not there in person. You're not trying to beat each other to a finish line. It's just completely supportive. And so I've been a big advocate, and really, I mean, I hate seeing people's actual physical events being taken away from them this year, but I think it's brought a lot of people in that maybe aren't competitive and given them a great outlet for competing.
I was wondering if I could get you to put some of that online on our Facebook page. I'm really not familiar with those kind of virtual races and racery and stuff, and I would love to get involved in that. I got you know, we got the kicker, and I think there's a lot of people are doing their training.
Yeah, now I think a lot of people are doing like, is it Ruby and Zwift?
Ruby is what I do, yeah.
You know, and I think I've seen some concepts where you can race other people on. I'm not going to lie, I have a kicker. I cannot figure it out. I have not used it. I've had it for over a year. I've used it once. It is over my head. It is too complicated.
I can help you with that one.
I am not. I'm just super simple. Like I said, I want to ride my cheap bike with my tennis shoes and, you know, go out and have a good time.
So, but that raises an issue that maybe we can help with, is that, you know, we do these video calls. Maybe we need to do a video on how to set up a kicker, you know, because you're not the only one out there who does it.
See, I know that part of it. Lisa knows the part about the virtual races. So we have to get together and do a video on that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, because it is over my head. I can put the thing on there. I cannot calibrate it. I get on and I'm done after 4 minutes because it's got the resistance so hard I can barely turn the pedals.
Oh yeah, I know.
Because I should be on easy, and I tried having somebody come out and they set it all up, and I was like, this is great. And the second I undid it and tried to re-put it back together myself, it don't work no more.
Okay, we can help you. We can
Yes,
get,
yeah, absolutely.
that's a goal. We got to get this, got to get your kicker up and running, especially
Yeah,
before.
we'll do that, and you can get us started on some of the virtual
I'll give you
virtual
some
races.
ideas with some virtual stuff, and
Okay.
yeah, you guys can laugh that I ride my $20 trainer instead of my really expensive kicker. Because I do ride my $20 trainer all the time.
Well, with this air quality, this is a time to, be able to go back indoors. And I really like what you said, is that you like getting out and riding, and we have some beautiful places to go riding. And so that's great.
Yeah.
But I also like how you talked about, just competing with yourself. And that's really neat that's what drives you, is, how to, compete with yourself and set your own goals. And it's not about racing anybody else.
No, not for me. And if and when I do train, I tend to train the same routes because I want to see if I could do better than I did the time before. And that's like,
Oh, you are competitive.
With myself.
With yourself, yes.
With myself. I'll compete with myself. I'll push myself to, do better. But for me, if I'm the 10th from the last, the 5th from the last, the very last person to finish, I just don't care.
Yep.
That's not my, it's not my priority. And it's where I've learned that I have to train myself, because when you work with other people, they always want you to get better, do better, which is fabulous, unless you're the kind of person who doesn't take to that, and I'm not. So
well, but that's such an important message for people to hear, is that the position doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, no one remembers that. It's just you and your memories of the event. No one remembers, what place any,
No one's concerned about it. They see the people they're racing with, running up a hill with, you're absolutely right, John.
Yeah. And my best race memories, like the ones that always come back to me, are from the most miserable conditions with the worst finishes. And I did my Olympic was in Palm Springs the year the water was 52 degrees, and I already barely knew how to swim. I was in that water for an hour. It took me at least 20 minutes longer than it should have, and I loved it. I hated it that day. But if you ask me later, I loved it.
Oh, you got bragging rights too. It's like, I did Palm Springs, and it was, there were ice cubes floating in the water.
Yeah, I mean, you don't have to be a friend of the packer to be accomplished. I mean, I have an entire wall full of medals. I have awards. I've actually placed in the Athena division several times without trying to. It just happened, It's really kind of just a fun thing for me, just to go out, see what happens, and make some memories and live to do it again another day. But I will say my favorite events and things to do are still teamwork things, which is I think why I love my sports. But I also love doing relays, and my favorite events ever have been Ragnar races, where you're running with a group of people. I really like working in groups or working together to accomplish something. So that's something else I don't see a whole lot of in our club races, that I'm hoping when things open back up and we start having more events and more things, I would love to see some of these beginners come out and just say, hey, I really want to try this. I'm not ready to swim yet. Let's make a relay. Can you help me find a buddy? Because I think
that's a good point.
Find them buddies. And I think a lot of us board members even would be willing to jump in and take a leg of something they're not comfortable with.
Oh, absolutely.
Do it side by side with them, because again, it's a club race. It's not for any major award. And as long as you're not worried about the point series, nobody cares if somebody swims with you or if somebody bikes alongside you to make sure you're on the right route, or, whatever you need. I've actually run into the finish line a few times with last finishers who are struggling, and sometimes just having somebody with you.
No, that's a great idea.
Different. So it's something that I personally don't race a whole lot anymore. I don't train a whole lot, but if somebody came to me and said, I really want to do this, but I can't swim, I'll tell them, if you don't care that I'm going to take 25 minutes, I'll swim for you. You know what I mean?
Or swim with you.
Yeah, let's make it happen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, great. Good idea.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. And Lisa, this is why I wanted to get you on, is that, you're such a valuable board member, because you have all these ideas and you've got a great skill set as treasurer. But you understand the broad spectrum, and you've got a really good perspective of the sport, talking about competing with yourself. And I'm not surprised that you enjoy teamwork, because you are a great team player on the board. And I've really appreciated you on the board and what you bring to the club.
I've appreciated you guys keeping me so long.
Well,
you're not going anywhere.
Here's the deal: is that we always shoot for 30 minutes, and 30 minutes just flies by. And
Right.
it's really been great to talk with you about the club, about what you do, about your triathlon background, and it's been great to have you on. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you for having me. And the only other thing I really want to throw out there is, if we have some members who are beginners, or who are intimidated by the podium people, or who have questions and want to talk to somebody who they feel is more like them, message me. I'm open to talking to anybody. I'm open to putting you in contact with the right people if I don't know the answer. I think that's a community that I want to just make sure feels they're getting reached out to. And,
Great message.
Yep. Everybody's important. Everyone has their goal, and so that's great that we've got, people ready to help, and so everyone's welcome.
And that said, I can't wait to see the podium people back on the podium soon. I hope it happens soon. It's been a rough year.
Yeah.
Well, maybe let's end with that. Well, do you have 2021 plans yet?
Me?
Yeah.
No, back to softball. But I really, really do want to race. I don't know that I want to race anything official. But you know what? If it gets back together soon, and I can get back to training soon enough, I will commit that I will do at least one club race next year. How about that?
Ah, there we go. Awesome. Okay, we got it. We did record this.
It's set in stone.
I know. Can't back out of that one now.
Back out.
That's awesome. Lisa, this has been great.
Thanks.
Really enjoyed talking with you.
Thank you so much for doing this with us.
I had a really good time. Thanks for having me.
Oh, it's been wonderful having you.
All right. Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
All right.